Hi there, it's Linda. So this is our primer on evaluation and assessment. There's a lot of additional resources posted on Slate if you want to learn more or explore different assessment strategies. Here's the learning outcomes for this module. Following the backwards design model, we'll have a number of times when we will evaluate or assess your comprehension of this material, with the major evaluation happening during your 10-minute facilitation. We're going to start the discussion with the Sheridan Student Assessment and Evaluation Policy. There's a link to this policy on Slate, but we pulled some of the key terms from it so that we're all using the same language to describe things in the classroom. So, as you can see, evaluation involves making a decision about the quality of the work and then assigning a grade to that work. So it could be a quiz, a midterm, a research assignment. There's tons of different ways to evaluate learning, but it's the assignment of the grade to the work that is key. Assessment, on the other hand, focuses more on the provision of feedback to students about the process of their learning. It's not graded, but it helps them to understand their strengths and weaknesses in their work so they can move to the next level of performance. And you'll see this applied in the video called Austin's Butterfly. The evaluation plan for each course is located on the course outline. So this is the evaluation plan for the Business Fundamentals course that we're working with. You'll see that there's a variety of evaluation tools being used: case studies, tests, research assignments, and presentations. And each of them has a pre-assigned value. As instructors, we can't change this evaluation plan. It's consistent across all of the sections of the courses. However, you may have the ability to modify an existing evaluation tool, and in some cases, like if I'm thinking about like a midterm or a final exam, I may be creating it for my students. Okay, so let's turn back to the question of assessment. So giving students feedback or collecting data about students' progression in their learning process. And the first question that you might be asking is like, when should I be doing this? And the easy answer is early and often. Assessment can start or should start on day one of your course. The first assessment is going to focus on what do your students already know about the subject. When we look at the flipped classroom, assessment can be conducted as part of the pre-work. So one of the things you might want to know is, are your students actually doing the pre-work? And there's lots of ways to find out. You can check metrics on Slate or on YouTube to see how many people have accessed a resource. You can ask students to answer questions based on their learning from the pre-work and post them on the discussion board. Or you may have a quiz that you want them to complete. A second question you may want answered is about the trouble spots in the content. So by reviewing the answers provided in postings or the results of a survey or a test, you'll get some kind of data about the content that's making sense to your students and the content that's not. Once you're face-to-face with the students, there's many opportunities to provide formative assessment. The first is with the bridging activity. And we're becoming more and more convinced that the bridging activity is critical to a successful in-class experience. First, it helps the students make the connection between their pre-work and the in-class activities. And secondly, it provides you with information about their level of comprehension. Is there some content that you need to review with them before you can move forward on the next learning activity? The truth is, assessment can happen anytime during that in-class period. My favorite resource on this topic is called Classroom Assessment Techniques by Angelo and Cross, and we've given you a couple of links on Slate. One is their overview about in-class assessment techniques, and the other one is examples of techniques that you can use. So what about post-work? Well, Marcy uses assessments extensively in the post-work for the Marketing Fundamentals course. The students have 24 hours to complete the post-work after their in-class session, and then Marcy uses the results to modify her lesson plan for the next class. Providing formative assessment doesn't need to be a lot of work. You're not the only one that can provide important feedback to students. Self-assessments are a great way of getting students to reflect about the work they're doing and to help identify where their strengths and weaknesses are. And of course, using peer feedback is another excellent way of providing formative feedback that doesn't require you to do all of the work. So explore the resources we've provided on Slate, participate in the in-class activities, and remember, the final question that we'll be looking at is how will you incorporate formative assessment into your 10-minute facilitation?